The Sultanate of Oman is a fabulous land full of surprises, a splendid example of original Arabia, from the Strait of Hormuz to the southern Dhofar. Up until the 1970s, the third largest country in the Arabian Peninsula was only accessible by various caravan routes. It has an abundance of mysterious desert towns and splendid palaces. Our journey begins on the northern coast of the Gulf of Oman. The white city of Sohar is the historic harbour of the Islamic world and the gateway to China. The city is still guarded by the white Sohar Fort, a mighty four-storey building that dates back to the 14th century. With its 6 circular towers, the fort was deemed so important by the Viceroy of India that he sent artists and historians to Sohar in order that they could record it for posterity. From the wall, there's a wonderful view across both terraces and towers. In its centre are the bones of a sultan who was murdered by his son. It was from here that trade with Africa and the Far East was transacted, trade that brought unexpected wealth and influence. Life is calm and peaceful, and each morning the small fish market on the edge of the city is the meeting place of those who combine the sale of fish with local gossip. Here, fishermen bring their daily catch, clean it and prepare it for sale for just a few paisa. The mood is good, and the people here are content with their lives. On his journey to the country's interior in 1708, Sultan bin Saif had the strategically located Al-Hazm Fortress built. In 1711, prior to his election as the Imam or political ruler, the fortress was designed to provide protection for his family. The spacious rooms and halls are surrounded by fascinating architecture. The fire slits were equipped with Portuguese booty cannons. As a result of his official duties, Sultan bin Saif transferred the capital from Rostaq to Al-Hazm because he wanted to control the coastal area as well as the country's interior. The rectangular complex that was built around a light inner courtyard is an impressive sight, with a strictly geometric ground plan and 2 mighty corner bastions. During the short and peaceful reign of its creator, the building was never really put to the test. Hot springs with temperatures of 40 degrees centigrade have also made the oasis town Rostaq famous. The second largest fortified complex in Oman was constantly enlarged and improved. The central Castillo is now surrounded by 4 towers and a huge wall. The next leg of the journey travels through the Hajar Mountains that extend for almost 600 kilometres from the Musandam Peninsula in the north to its eastern sections. They are also known as the Oman Mountains and divide the coast from the inland. An isolated and rugged landscape with only a few routes to the coast. Oman covers around 300,000 square kilometres and is one of the most sparsely settled countries in the world, with only 1.5 million inhabitants. Suddenly, an inhabited settlement appears from behind a rock. The name of the Nakhl Oasis originated from the word Al-Nakhl, that means date palm in Arabic. Palm gardens have been in existence here since pre-Islamic times. Small water basins surrounded by palm trees surprise those who come here for the first time, an oasis amid a desolate mountain world. Here drinking water is more precious than oil. Thus the women fulfill an important task by filling their buckets with water from the spring, and then carry it on their heads home to their families, spilling not a drop. The Nakhl Fortress is located on a rock at the foot of the mountain of the same name, Jebel-Nakhl. Both walls and rock form a complete architectural whole. Nakhl is the home of the Arabian Tribe that came into power in 1624 and ruled over Oman for 120 years. With its own well and spring and ample storerooms, in times of siege, Nakhl was totally self-supporting. From the uppermost tower of the fortress, the view across the Batina plains and the Hajar Mountains is overwhelming. Over the centuries, a total of 6 large fortified towers defended the fortress from many a siege. Today, the totally restored Islamic fortress is an important part of the country's history. Since 1970, the capital of the Sultanate, Muscat, has been transformed into a modern metropolis with new Arabic architecture. Naturally, this splendid mosque is an expression of both wealth and power. Golden domes and artistic stone carvings indicate Rajasthan influence. The enchanting prayer house was built with some artistic influence from India. A fairy tale straight out of the 1001 Nights. This splendid mosque is in the area of Muscat that extends for 60 kilometres along the coast and is known as the newly designed capital area. The old town is dominated by the Al-Hazm Palace that serves as both the official seat of government and also that of the monarch. The sheltered harbour also now contains a street and a promenade and is called Corniche. Corniche also contains the main entrance to the Matra Souk. The city's oldest market is still popular with both young and old alike and is not just a tourist attraction. Here, all kinds of shoes are offered for sale, and also local as well as imported goods from around the world get proficiently examined and selected. On the edge of the city, behind a black rock, a fairy tale hotel was built that is known as the modern legend of Oman, the Al Bustan Palace Hotel. Prior to the construction of this 9-storey luxury complex, there was once a fishing village on this site. In just 2 years, 3,500 workers built this oriental dream that is of both Arabian and Indian design, surrounded by a blossoming and extremely well-tended garden. The journey leads further inland, along the Jebel-Nakhl that separates the eastern Hajar Mountains from those in the west. Barakat Al Moz. The springs here have always provided nourishment for those who live in this desolate region. An oasis amid the arid mountain landscape. The houses are traditionally made of clay, a material that can be found everywhere in nature. When soaked with water, it is easy to work with, and in the heat of the sun it sets hard and firm. The only disadvantage of the clay houses is that they must be renewed frequently. If sudden rainfall soaks the walls, they must be replaced immediately. Failure to do this could result in collapsed walls and even the entire building, and then it would have to be completely rebuilt by the same principle. Nizwa, the religious centre of the Omans, has a moving past that manifests itself in the city's defensive fortress. Until the 12th century, Nizwa was the capital of the Desert State of Oman. Even today, this oasis city and trading metropolis has lost none of its former importance. In the past, the fortress fulfilled an important role in protecting the country's interior. Today, its lavish and well-restored rooms radiate tranquility. Numerous historic objects of everyday life are displayed in various areas of the fortress and associated buildings. There is a charming, oriental atmosphere in the silent, shady courtyards. Few of its ancient buildings remain, as the older part of the city has been almost completely rebuilt. Nizwa's picturesque markets offer a large variety of goods. In addition to shops that sell traditional crafts and general goods, many fruit and vegetable traders offer their products in the restored souk. In the eastern souk, time seems to have stood still. At the top of their voices, traders from the surrounding mountain villages advertise their wares, mainly goats and sheep. The renovation of the buildings that took place in 1994 changed the face of Nizwa, but it has retained its old charm and also its minaret. Around 20 kilometres from Nizwa is the abandoned and ruined village of Tanuf. Old and weather-beaten remains surrounded by rock walls. Tanuf was once the home of Suleiman bin Himyar of the Bani Riyam tribe. He called himself Lord des Jebal-Akhdar and fought against the ruling sultan. The British Air Force assisted the sultan and destroyed the city. Many of the villagers escaped and built a new village some 4 kilometres away. With the destruction of Tanuf, the last bastion of the rebellious followers of Talib and Ghalib bin Ali was also destroyed, and the rebellion against the monarch in Muscat was quashed. Our next destination in the northern Oman is the oasis town of Bakhla. An impressive fortress looks over the town. It is thought that in pre-Islamic times, a small complex once stood here. In 1610, the Imam Tamar built one of the largest fortified complexes in Oman. Bricks are laid over the foundations of natural stone. It also has several towers. The town is a traditional oasis that boasts an especially rich clay that is ideal for the production of pottery. Thus, Bakhla has become a centre of pottery. Of its once numerous pottery shops, only 2 have survived. The others were forced to close down due to the industrial complexes that gradually grew on the outskirts of the town. Al-Hamra. This 300-year-old oasis village dates back to the reign of Imam Saif Bin Sultan. At the end of the 17th century, members of the Abriyin Tribe settled here, the descendants of whom still live in the Jebal-Akhdar Mountains. Al-Hamra means the red one, an Arabic name that is also to be found in the word Al-Hamra of Granada. It is linked to the colours of the brick buildings. Military towers protect the town, and the wonderful view into the valley below gives the impression that time stopped here many centuries ago. The mighty Jabrin Fort. It is one of the most beautiful castles of its kind in the Sultanate of Oman, formerly the famous land of incense. The owner of this splendid building, that is more like a palace than a fort, was the noble scholar Imam Saif Bin Sultan. In 1670, he moved his government headquarters to Jabrin. Although clearly designed for battle, This impressive residential castle was constructed during peaceful times. The interior of the castle, with its furnishings and everyday objects, gives a strong impression of the way of life of its former occupants during this historic epoch. Two of the residences were originally constructed separately, but were subsequently, in the course of the year, connected by way of a small but bright inner courtyard. Less strategic, but extremely attractive, is the view from the top of Jabrin Fort across the surrounding country. Until 50 years ago, Abri had the reputation for being a centre for highwaymen and robbers, favoured for its good strategic location. The once strongly fortified town on the hill is now abandoned and has fallen into decay. Within the fortress, it's plain to see that it was built on natural rock. It's still possible to see the impressive remains of houses and alleys that, until relatively recently, were full of life. The final destination of our journey, the oasis town of Buraimi, a town that borders the United Arab Emirates and consists of 9 districts. 3 belong to the Sultanate of Oman, and the remaining 6 to the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, that is also known as Al-Ain. At the beginning of the 19th century, the Saudi Arabian Wahhabites took control of the oasis and enlarged the fort. From there, they wanted to spread their doctrine across the whole of Oman. Sultan Sayyid Said attempted to drive them off with violence, but the conflict did not end there. First, an alliance with the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi brought peace. When mineral oil was discovered here in 1952, Saudi Arabia occupied the district of Hamasa and claimed the oasis for themselves. The central part of the oasis exudes calm and makes it easy to forget that in 1955 the Saudis were forcefully removed from this area. But the souk is still the meeting place of the men. Here, countless goods are offered for sale, but the most important attraction is the exchange of news and gossip. Within the cool corridors of the market, vegetables and legumes are offered in bags, and also fresh fruits and vegetables from the surrounding plantations. Traders proudly display the fish freshly caught and delivered from Abu Dhabi. Trade across the border presents no difficulties. For thousands of years, both Arabic and non-Arabic people have lived peacefully together in Oman, and both the sea and trade have made their mark in Oman society. The Sultanate of Oman is a treasure trove of rarities. Its 12,000-year-old history is visible throughout the entire country, and the beauty of the mysterious Arabian Peninsula is a truly captivating experience.